Man United v Nottingham Forest, April 1992, League Cup Final, at Wembley Stadium. Manchester United's Men in Black firm have a meet-up with Nottingham Forest executive crew before this Rumbelows Cup Final in April 1992. We have two stories from members of the firm at the time. First of all, we have Forest executive crew member Colin, who told us, Kilburn High Street. Let me be clear about this. Forest got done. This was the League Cup Final at Wembley. We met at the Dolphin pub just outside St Pancras train station, and we had a good mob of lads with all the old schoolboys out. This was a top mob of Forest. I would say we had about 250 lads here, with no OB at all. Word was going around that Man U were meeting in Kilburn, so we needed to head over there and take it to them. Great, everyone set off towards the tube station. The first lot got on the tube, including me, but as we were getting on, we could hear sirens going off, and the tube conductors, not sure if that's what you call them, started shouting to clear the station. They stopped all the others getting on and told them to leave the station quickly. It was a bomb scare. Our tube pulled off with about 50-60 of us on it. So about 50-60 of us get to Kilburn and turn right out of the Kilburn station onto Kilburn High Street. We found a pub on the left-hand side of the road and went in for a drink and to wait for the others to catch us up. After a few minutes, someone came in and said, Man U are drinking up the road. So we started to get ready, but too late. Man U are already coming up the road. We pile out of the pub, and I swear, it was one of the biggest mobs I have faced up to. The whole of Kilburn High Street was full of Man U lads walking up to us. They were in a line right across the road, and as far and deep as I could see. It was a sight. I don't know how many lads they had, but it looked like 500, 600 lads. It could have been more. Both mobs clashed right in the middle of the road. For a few minutes we were holding them off. The front rows of both sides were game lads with proper hand-to-hand fighting. They started to back us off. There were some shops on the right-hand side, so a few of us dived in here and got some ammo, tins of beans. We charged out and let our tins go. Some Man U came back up and it's off again. Fighting like this was going off all over both sides of the road, and front and back, there was major fighting going off everywhere. We were well outnumbered, and again we started to get run. This time we ran up the road, about 20 of us, on the right-hand side of the road. We stopped and got it together, and again went back into them. This went on for about 3 or 4 times. At one stage I found myself back at the pub doors, so I went in, grabbed a chair leg, and charged back into Man U. Unfortunately, this was seen on the Panorama or World in Action documentary on Brian Clough selling tickets to Man U fans. This fighting seemed to go on for ages before the OB arrived. When they did come, I was standing next to a railing with G from Selston. We were both knackered. We decided to go back on the tube to the next station and find the nearest pub. When we did, some of ours were already in there. We joined B and a few others and pondered over the events. We had done well against a top mob and vastly outnumbered. What would have happened if the rest of our mob had been there, we'll never know. Should we have gone knowing most of ours had got turned back at the tube? Maybe not. Now we are in the ground, and pockets of Man U are sitting in the forest end. Little bits of fighting was going off in the seats throughout the whole of the first half. At half-time, I decided to go downstairs for a piss. As I got to the toilets, some Man U fans were mingling in, and it was obvious it was going to go off. The great thing was, it now went off big time with loads of Man U and FEC clashing under those seats, and this time Forest got the better of them and had them backing off and then running. At least it was a bit of revenge. But as I say, we got well and truly battered earlier, so fair play to United. Man United fan Tommy told us. We played Forest in the League Cup Final 1992 at Wembley. At the time, United's firm drank in the pubs in Kilburn High Street, so that's where the Men in Black met up. Even on a Sunday morning, the pubs were full of United from around 9 a.m. About 1 p.m, I heard a commotion outside, and everyone rushed to see what was happening. Only a massive mob of 300 Forest walking down the high street, singing and shouting, obviously wanting some action. I spotted a few of their head boys at the front of the firm, so I knew they were after it. Well, who are we to turn down an invitation? First I watched in amusement as pub after pub emptied and United tore into them. Forest were soon on the back foot, and as they reached us, the main mob of MIB, they realized their mistake. Fancy walking down the Kilburn High Street knowing United's firm were there and not expecting a spanking. We simply battered them. They hadn't got a chance. Must have been about 600 strong by now. But it wouldn't have mattered if they had the same numbers. They were completely out of their depth. They started running, and I believe they haven't stopped running since. We ran after them for a bit, but boy were they fast. Too fast for our lot. So we laughed and went back into the pub area to finish our drinks. The police arrived, late as usual, wondering what all the fuss was about. We shrugged and told them some Forest had taken the wrong turn. Inside Wembley I heard there was some trouble, but another of our mobs cleaned them up. After the match I didn't see much trouble. The odd fight between a few lads, but nothing major. I think the Forest boys have made more of an incident than we ever have about it. It was fun. That was about it, really. We thank Colin and Tommy for their recollections. It's clear the Forest boys had a bit of a beating in the old Kilburn High Street, so it's a definite win for the boys known as MIB. Thanks for watching. Please share, like and subscribe, as it really helps our channel grow and to give you bigger, better content.